Grand Rising, fellow travelers. The theme for 2025 is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. The theme for July is Rolling in the Deep. Today's topic, remember, river dolphins. And Dr. Ernest Holm wrote, "The inherent nature of humanity is forever seeking to express itself in terms of freedom. We shall do well to listen to this inner voice, for it tells us of life's wonderful in its scope, of a love beyond our fondest dreams, of a freedom the soul craves." And then the author, Emily Cady, wrote, "Everyone wants to be free, free as the birds of the air, free from sickness, free from suffering, free from bondage, free from poverty. And they have a right to be. It is God-given desire and a God-given right. Let us affirm together, in this moment, I embrace the freedom that is mine by divine inheritance." Thank you.
So as you might have guessed already, this month has to do with the wisdom of the ocean. And so I just thought I'd start off with a question. And here's my question. Are you ready for our July theme, Rolling in the Deep? And this is how you respond. I'm officially ready. You got it. Officially ready. Emphasis on fish. Let's do it again. I am officially ready. Well, that is shrimply amazing. And so let's celebrate and have a good time.
Okay, you can say,
Yeah. Yeah, I found this, and I found all these different things on the internet, and I said, let me see how I can put this together really creatively. Yeah, it's always fun to have some laughter and help us to release some of that tension that might be, still there, so that we can be fully present for this beautiful message. And so during this month, as I said, Rolling in the Deep, we are not only seeking the wisdom of the ocean, but all of the creatures that reside in it. And of course, today, our focus is on dolphins. River dolphins, yes, that's what was in the title, but dolphins in general, as you will see. So the river dolphins, we have some friends that just went on a cruise to the Amazon, and I heard all about the pink river dolphins. And they're much smaller, apparently, than regular dolphins, and they turn all pink by the diet that they eat. And also they have injuries from fighting with each other, and that makes them even pinker, apparently. That's what I've heard anyway. So the thing is these, even though dolphins have this ability to be anywhere in the oceans all over the planet, they have the full range. There are some that choose to live in the confines of a river. And the river gets very muddy at times, and the currents can be very strong, and yet this is the environment that they choose. And so the thing that's beautiful about this, there's a book actually by Alexis Pauline Gumbs. It's called Undrowned: Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Animals. And this book is, while it really does support the upliftment of Black females, she continues to point to the fact that this is a message for all of us. This is a message for all of us because we all, in some ways, are confined by our conditioned mind and by the social structures that come up that are in place because of the collective consciousness. So she tells the story of Harriet Tubman. And think about this. Harriet Tubman made it to freedom. And yet what did she choose to do? She chose to go into the confines of the muddy waters. You see the parallel with the river dolphin. The muddy waters of the unfreed territory to bring the message of freedom and possibility and potentiality to all the people who were still, enslaved in the South. She did this over and over and over and over again. She brought that skill, that sense of her freedom with her and carried people back with her to free lands and new possibilities for their lives. So inspiring. And so the message today also is about honoring our ancestors. And ancestors, yes, we've gained some wounds from our ancestors, but this is also a focus on a more holistic, balanced approach to honoring ancestors, which is also welcoming the strengths and the wisdom received from them, because there is so much that has come through. So after all of these reflections, Alexis Pauline Gums writes, "Thank you, my loves," she's talking to her ancestors, "for the bravery of your freedom in spaces of clear limitation, in spaces of muddy reality. Thank you for teaching us the difference between privilege and courage, escape and transcendence, reaction and revolution. Your endurance inscribes an eternal alternative carried by the bottlenoses." There's the reference to the dolphins. "Message honored, message received." Isn't that beautiful? So we as spirit humans, we're this beautiful presence that is spirit, having this human experience, spirit humans, are interconnected. There's this continuity of life that flows from one generation to the next. So the wisdoms and the learnings of these spirit beings that came before us are in our DNA, and we get to draw upon that in our lives. And actually, what I've heard before is stand on the shoulders of our ancestors and bring forth an even greater expression of who we are. It's really a very powerful thing to think of, and it's an infinite spiritual lineage. And so with that in mind, while healing inherited traumas is crucial, we're not limiting that, we again continue to celebrate, recognize, and honor all of the strengths and the qualities that have been passed down to us as equally important. And then integrate them into our lives and allow them to help shape our identities and our choices, and therefore enriching not only the present generations that are with us, but future generations. We're doing our part to continue to bring forth those strengths. So then I thought about my grandma Bagamary, and Dan actually found a picture of me sitting on her lap. There it is. My grandmother was a Hungarian immigrant. She came to the United States when she was a teenager, and she married my grandfather at a young age, and they ended up having 6 sons. So, of course, she was delighted when I came along. So I got a lot of special attention from her. And we lived just down the alleyway from her, so I can remember I must have been 3 years old, running down the alleyway to her place. And she was always there with open arms. And keep in mind, by then my grandfather had passed. And he died at age 50 or 52, something like that. And so she raised these 6 strapping sons, one who became a Steelers football player. and my dad, who was a professional boxer at one point in time. And at the same time, she was an entrepreneur. She had a family business. In the same house, there was a grocery store. So she was raising sons, grocery store, cooking, and all of that kind of stuff. And even with all of that, she welcomed me with open arms. I learned all of these Hungarian dances and songs, and I can still sing one of them. Every time I see Linda Letzen, we sing it together. But anyway, dances, songs, cooking, chicken paprikash and palakchinta, which is like a crepe, a Hungarian form of crepe. And she was joyful. She told me stories. She was playful and happy, and so when I look at all of that, I realize what I inherited. Reflecting on this, I realize the strengths that I inherited from her. Entrepreneur and joy, the loving, being playful and joyful, and loving to sing and dance. Just all of those things that were just so important to me. She was a huge comfort for me when I was a child. I can remember that, especially when I wanted to get away from my mom and dad. I was like, my grandmother was there. So it was such a blessing, her life for me. And so I just want to say, and also her ability to transcend challenges. Oh my gosh, I just think about that and still be a joyful spirit. So I'm going to say my own thank you. So thank you, Grandma Bagamary, for the strengths, the resilience, the sense of purpose, the playfulness, the joy, all of those beautiful qualities that I inherited from you, and I am accepting them with great joy and great love. So yes, I'm going to end it with this the same way. Message honored, message received. So yes, that was a message that I honored and a message I received just last night. So personal power. Personal power is a central teaching of science of mind. Empowerment. We talk about this all the time. The awareness that we are these individualizations of the divine. And we've come into this experience and we've been socialized and have gathered all of these beliefs that maybe are not serving us. So the process of shedding those beliefs that don't serve us, those limiting beliefs, is part of that stepping into our power, empowerment, personal power. And so Ernest Holmes, in fact, says that reclaiming our power is aligning with the ultimate goal, which is a complete freedom from all discord of every nature. And so let's get back to the dolphins. So there's some wonderful parallels between the dolphins that are held in captivity for entertainment in SeaWorld and the human consciousness. Think about it. What happens when they've been conditioned to adapt to providing entertainment, and they receive little rewards, for doing that. And so little by little, they are there to serve the public, but they've lost some of their authentic selves in the process. They've been socialized, and it's like it is with humans in adapting to social conditions through conditioning and adapting to confining social structures and barriers. So like the dolphins in those conditions show signs of distress and diminished vitality from not being their authentic selves. And that's what happens with us too, and that's all of us who are not fully being our authentic selves. There are signs in our body temple that let us know that we're out of alignment with that. At the same time, the resilience of captive dolphins is pretty astonishing and inspiring. What they do is they communicate with each other, they form deep bonds with one another, they form a little community of dolphins within SeaWorld as a way to, I'm sure, to continue a sense of well-being. And isn't that what we do as well? That's what we're doing here in spiritual community, forming strong bonds, connecting, communicating, uplifting one another, and supporting each other in releasing those ideas and thoughts that keep us in bondage to living a conditioned life instead of living from that authentic nature of who we are. So I was thinking in terms of, our circles. I was thinking of the Power of 8 circle and the men's care circle, and yeah, and how these close connections. We gather on Sundays, which is awesome, but there's something very powerful about connecting more deeply in not only the circles but in the classes. Anybody who has been in either one of those knows there's great comfort, there's great support for spiritual growth in those different modalities in our community. And so what we do then when we gather together is we are more able to stand in that personal power and in our collective power to not only transform consciousness, but to then step out into the world and transform structures, social structures that are not serving not only us, but the greater good. We're more able to serve when we're standing in our authentic power, our authentic selves. And it just reminds me again of what Ernest Holmes kept telling us over and over again. Treat, that means do your deep spiritual work, spiritual mind treatment, and what comes after that? Move your feet. So there are two parts of that. Yes, we do our deep inner work, and we also move our feet, not only for ourselves personally in our own lives, but for the collective good of all people. So, in summary, truth that is inherited patterns, the truth that is inherited patterns and social narratives, the truth is it limits all of us in our potential and our expression of our true selves. It keeps us stuck in old patterns, not only within ourselves, but in the collective. And so if we are truly to free ourselves to move into a greater sense of liberation and freedom, then it's important to shed those beliefs. It's important to own our own power, our own divine selves. And it's important to move into action, whatever that is for you. And I know you're guided into whatever action works for you. And so I'm just going to invite all of you to turn within in prayer. And I know at the same time our band will be moving into place. Centering in this truth and this awareness, being thankful for the wisdom of the dolphins. The wisdom that guides us into greater awareness of who we are as beings of light and love, beings that emanate from the one divine source of all that is, and that therefore have in our essential nature all of those qualities of the divine available to us at any moment. I give thanks for the awakening taking place in each one of us, the awakening to the truth of who we are, the awakening to the importance of gathering in community, of gathering in circles and gathering in classes, of deepening our commitment to shed what doesn't serve and to step into our glory and our power and our grace. So I'm knowing that what is happening here then in this beloved community is that we are beings of great power and purpose. We truly are in alignment with this higher idea of heaven on earth, a world that works for all. We are bringing that consciousness of heaven into our very cells, organs, and actions and functions, into our human energy field. And from that overflow of continuous flow of that good and that light, I know that that light and that love is now spreading from this room, increasing, and spreading all over the planet, touching the hearts and the souls and the minds of all of our human family, our spirit human family. So with this deep sense of gratefulness for the truth that I am speaking, for the manifestation of this word, which is pure light, planted upon universal law, that universal law has no choice but to bring it into fruition in, through, and as all of us and all the lives that we touch. So let's breathe that in. And I invite you to accept it with a powerful yes, and so it is. Thank you, my friends. And now the Spirit Band.